Hello, welcome and welcome back. This is Jacob and today we are gonna be continuing the narration and character voicing for the Nearl Light side story in Arknights. We are almost done, people. Almost done. We are nearing the end of this side story and the bonus little episode that I'm planning to record for the last part, but outside of that, thank you very much again for the likes on the previous part. It really means a lot and helps the episodes being recognized a bit better in the algorithm. And also, and more importantly, congratulations Wizard on binging through the entirety of the Nearl storyline so far up until the very last episode. So I'm glad to hear that you enjoyed your journey through this whole thing. And well, stuff is yet to come. But also, of course, if you haven't watched the Mlinner side story, which follows after this one, obviously I would now recommend just wait. Wait until these last couple of parts and then go and binge through the rest of it and see where we have ended up in the story so far. Because this is definitely not the end of the Nearl's story. But more on that in that narration. But anyway, let us begin, shall we? So, we will continue on today, obviously, from stage 8 and end on stage 9. Yep, once again, only 2 stages. This is dense, after all. But stage 8, our very first stage here, will be included into the narration as well. And by that I mean the battle stage. And why that is, you might be able to immediately tell once I click on it. Titled, The Last Kishik. The Knight's Mora looks back at his past life. The old knight squats before the yellow sand with tears in his eyes. His Kagan sharpening his machete not far away. So, let's start. A voiceover broadcast. Our champion, having appeared out of nowhere, has put a stop to the battle with a thunderous momentum. Jesus. That's a good start, not being able to read. Last night's match was cut short when Nightmare Knight's arts were ruled a violation, and the one who stopped things from getting even further out of hand was the hero, the Blood Knight. The match between the Radiant Knight and Nightmare Knight ended in a tie, and Nightmare will be facing the Blood Knight, whose opponent has dropped out in his next round. A tie? Nightmare broke the rules. Shouldn't they have promoted the Radiant to the next round? They don't want to let an infected to just move up their ranks like that, of course. Where's Shevchik? He's with his family. Give him some time. To be honest, I don't really care much about him to begin with. We can tell. True enough. Why are you trying to hide it? He's still alive. Real flesh and blood, right? The city makes us forget it a lot, but we're all alive. We should have our own choices, our own lives, instead of drifting about in the endlessly beating waves, never to find out who we really are. The broadcast continues. The battle of a lifetime between the Blood Knight and Nightmare Knight will begin tomorrow evening. Be sure to tune into the Night of Nights channel tomorrow at 8 o'clock for the best competition experience. Also, I would like to say here, I do like cringy puns and stuff like that, but seriously, the TV channel is called Night, as in the time of day, Night of Nights. I both love it and hate it at the same time. Anyway. Loud, happy beeping noises. Oh, Justice, you're okay. Ivona? You can't get up yet. Come, I'll help you. Thanks, Ashley. I thought I had exclusive rights to the nickname Ashley. Let me borrow it for a while. You're gonna have to pay for using my trademark. Ivona? That day? Yeah, I saw the Blood Knight silhouette. There were traces of blood arts. It's a really awful kind of arts. As things are, just casting normal arts is enough to make me ache. I can't imagine how much pain the Blood Knight has to bear, controlling arts like that. The Blood Knight, he's strong. Everybody knows. It's thanks to the Blood Knight that the infected won the right to fight in the Major. We became the KGCC's playthings. We lost our dignity and freedom, but we're still alive. It's only by staying alive that we have the chance to run. Between the Radiant Knight and the Blood Knight, who do you support, girls? The Blood Knight, no doubt about it. He's the one who opened up the future for us infected. But what we need is an unflagging fight instead of a status quo, so I choose the Radiant Knight. And you? I pick Sona. You can do that? Yes, you can do that. You called?
The Born has made their decision. Area 0 will be wiped clean. Our current strategy with the infected is a mistake.
A mistake, huh?
Moreover, Rhode Island's leader has been digging too deep into the Area 0 affair. This is a lapse on the Armorless Union's part. Several executive directors are strongly demanding the Armorless Union eradicate this threat. Do not let Rhode Island's medical team leave Kazimierz alive. Any issues?
None, but this is only an order from several executive directors, and not the whole board, right?
This is not for you to question. We have authority over your command.
Point of order. It's Mr. Malkiewicz over there who has authority over me.
Malkiewicz, you know what to do.
Oh, he is in a tough spot. Are you hurt? Yeah, probably when I blocked his strike. I couldn't feel a thing at the time, but it might have bruised a bone or two. Hold still, let me see. You need a doctor. This will affect your performance. Maybe put some ice on it? Alright. Can't we heal this with arts? That will alleviate the pain and help the wound heal, but if she's got any broken bones, she could end up worse in the future if we don't take proper care of them. What do we do? You're up against the Wind Knight in the next match. That's a strong opponent. If we have to fight, if we have to fight this hurt, don't worry so much. How am I supposed not to worry? It's just a minor injury. I'm more than used to this. You call this minor?
Oh boy.
Margaret, you've worked so hard and you've gotten so strong. What is it all for? To become a champion? You cannot surmount the rule setters within their own rules. Isn't that what Uncle said? But that's just because Mlinar... No, I get it. He's right. But it's not the rule setters that we need to defeat. We need to break free of the rules. We need to teach those who have been tamed to rise up, help those who have fallen to regain the light. Uncle Mlinar, he doesn't believe that there are still those who would follow a lighthouse's beam and charge into the storm. But I don't agree with him. If we can dispel this darkness, the people will push forward.
You need to listen to the doctor and rest up for a few days. Your next match is against the Wind Knight, right? If you don't recover by then, it won't go well for you. Don't end up like me. I knew my arm was no good, but I pushed myself even further. This is what I got.
Right. You needn't worry about me. Margaret, look! Ta-da! The new gauntlet? Already? That's amazing. I thought it would take you until tomorrow.
It probably would have taken me another 2 or 3 days if I was working by myself. We didn't adjust your gauntlet around your new weapon last time, not that we didn't know where to start. but that taught us a lesson, and it really got Maria working.
Maria, I know some excellent craftsmen. Perhaps I should introduce them to you. Really? Where are they from? All over. Ursus, Lithanian, Higashi, Laterano, you name it. Whoa, that's like a whole guild of master craftsmen. Why would a pharma company need so many craftsmen, though? I always find that sentence funny. Why would they need them? I don't know. How about... well, I'm not gonna go into detail about the main story, but how about... I don't know. You know, sea terrors, Cthulhu monsters to the south in the seas. To the north we have some form of demons somewhere. Well, at least they call them demons, but they're also called pieces of them shards, so I don't know if they're actually flesh and blood. Then we have sleeping entities that everybody just calls either gods or godlike, that split themselves apart and roam the land as, or the country that they are in, as, well, humans, but humans that probably cannot age or die. And, do I need to go on? Oh, yeah, then there is potentially space terrors, considering that, yes, in the story we do have a individual, in one of the side stories, we have an individual called Yeeth, who is named after a, almost like a Cthulhu, after a Lovecraftian space crazy race. Do I need to go on? Maria, do I need to go on? Sorry, I had to let that out. Anyway, you'll just have to find out for yourself. Thank you, Nearl. This reminds me, there was this one year when Uncle Mlinner bought you a small drone for your birthday. You had the thing torn apart that afternoon. I put it back together after that, though.
I was shocked, you know. It might not have flown again after she put it back together, but I never expected a kid to have such an amazing talent. I half expected Maria to become a knight back then, though. Otherwise, I'd have entrusted her with my workshop. You better get on that, Cowell. Who knows when you'll kick the bucket. Oh, cursing me now, are you?
Do you want to pursue your interests, Maria? I don't know yet.
Maria's still young.
I just know that it's been a very long time since we talked like this. Oh, I forgot to bring the restoration gel. We still have to try out the new gauntlet. The match is coming up soon, isn't it? I'll head back to the workshop now. Margaret, those are some serious injuries. But... What's that noise?
The Knightsmore drags his weapon across the floor, sending tiny sparks everywhere. Enraged, he mutters to himself. He has made his way here, following only the smell of the light. You are not her. Right, you are her sister. Where is she?
You want Margaret? Why?
Our battle has not yet ended.
But the match's over.
The match? My Kagan quest's purpose is not a mere match in a competition. The Radiant Knight is an essential part of this path. Our holy battle should not have been interrupted.
Then you just have to defeat the Blood Knight again and fight my sister in the next round.
Enough! Competitions, Major, they are all for show. You heard the rules. You heard the crowd. Could you feel how laughable and blasphemous it all was?
Is this the Major? What is it you won? What did you get from all this? Glory, wealth, your family's honor? But what is it you're missing? What is it you're missing? And without much time to think about it, as if in pure response to the cheering all around her, Maria holds her sword up high. Only the pain, sharp, radiating from her hand, overcomes the applause.
Do not take me for a jester entertaining the masses. I am a descendant of the Kashyyyk. I must complete my Kagan quest. Stand aside. I have no interest in frail children. The only business I have is for the Radiant Knight.
No, I won't let you pass.
You? You are nothing but an affinity of the Radiant Knight.
An affinity?
Your dream is taken from another. Your conviction is borrowed. You use your young age as an excuse for your confusion. But what point is there? The world can laugh at the Radiant Knight's stubbornness, but no one may refuse the strength of her actions. Yet you are not even a knight. Now stand aside, lest my blade slice your throat open.
No, I won't let you see my sister.
Is she hiding? No. With her brilliant light, the Radiant Knight is above that. Then, is she injured? You mean to tell me I injured her in our fight, and I must wait until she recovers before our next match? Shameless!
So heavy. It's heavier than Titus's land strikes. Why am I...
Look at you, already down in fear. You cannot wield your weapon in front of me. If we had met on the battlefield, you would already be dead.
No. This has nothing to do with knights. I just want to protect my sister.
The Radiant Knight is not for you to protect, you ignorant Pegasus. This arrow, a far cry from that blue archer. Step away from the child, Knights Mora. Butt buyer. Will you stand in my way too?
Maria, quick stand up. Come over here. Right.
Are you nuts? This is not the first time you asked me this question. I thought at least you would. You have nowhere to go, kid. Tell me, where is your Kagan? Where is the Kashyyyk's banner? Where are their tents? It's been 1,000 years. Why live in the past? Why chase that tradition? What can all that bring you, kid?
Tola. Your name means grasslands. You must take pride in your bloodline. Whensoever and wheresoever you stand, you must take pride in yourself. Tola, you must live as a normal Kuranta. This is very simple. Study, grow up, learn a trade, and marry a beautiful wife.
But buyer, I made up my mind when my mother died to the fangs of a wild beast. It was this nightmare of mine that made me a Knight's Mora. What kind of nonsense are you on about? I have struggled for years in this country of knights. Yet in the end, I was guided to this path to fulfill my last ideals. Hold on. You can't seriously mean your journey was all for... Speak no more. You are old and frail, but it does not change the fact you once stood on the battlefields. If you insist on standing in my way, then I shall trample upon you and destroy one of my last remaining bloodkin with my own hands. Come, I shall charge you. What?
Master Vogelweide, get out of there!
Maria, are you okay?
I'm fine. We can't let this lunatic find Margaret, or else...
You would stand in my way, so you will kill me. Do Knights of Casimirs truly know what it means to fight to the death? No, you cannot possibly. Budbuyer, you are old, and you, naive Pegasus, you know nothing of the cruelty of the world. You would interfere in my fight with her. You are sullying both our names and honor.
No. Honor doesn't matter at all.
Then what does your sister fight for? You dare spout such blasphemy. You dare claim the Radiant Knight buys for the Major's title, not to regain her glory? You heretic! Raise your weapon. You will pay the price.
I still won't let you pass. Ever.
And that obviously leads us into the battle stage. But before we do that, we have a description to add yet again. The last Kashyyyk, Tola. The Knight's Mora has never acknowledged his knightly title. The city and civilization itself are nothing but obstacles on his path of conquest. The meaning modern Casimirs bestows upon the knights represents a total desecration of his history to which he is so devoted. Alright, so let's go in. Same team as in the before showings, so nothing new there. And let's let the stage run until our Kashyyyk appears. Or rather, he will appear immediately, but I'll still let it run on double the speed until a specific moment. But yeah, for anybody who isn't maybe playing the game and just following along with the story, essentially his big mechanic is that he summons essentially these apparitions that appear behind people if their back is turned towards the darkness. But obviously, very poetically, we are letting Blamishine here smack the shit out of him. Alright. That will be it, basically. So let's let the stage run. Who do we get? Not even disappointed. Alright then. Let us continue with the after part.
Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Pressed the wrong button. I did it again. Jesus Christ, don't do that. Kid. That's enough. Don't push yourself.
No, Master Vogelweide, look at your hand.
This isn't the first time. I'm used to it. It's over. Your strength is beyond my expectations. It was just enough to tide my anger. You two are a descendant. I shall not take your life, but you will get out of my way. So you've got your heart set on dueling Margaret, huh? Wrong. I'm merely continuing a fight that was cut short. What do you want? You're stubborn and mad. What are you looking for anyway? What is it that you actually want? You do not understand. Like hell I would. For that so-called tradition of yours, you gave up your whole life and everything ahead of you. It's all pointless. Do I need you to give my life meaning? I just don't want to see you stay on this path of insanity forever. The Kagan quest is a coming-of-age tradition followed by a handful of tribes. Doesn't that make you still a child? Ugh, I'm done with you. Out of the way. Over my dead body. You will regret this, old man. Maria, what are you doing? You're hurt.
This is my first time to see you so worked up, Knight Mora. The shield of a knight is meant to protect people. That's what my sister told me. You said my conviction was borrowed. I've got nothing to say about that. But if I'm going to be scared and walk even well-lit roads, then there's really no point in the knighthood anymore.
How dare you spout that nonsense about knights?
Sorry, but I'm not a knight anymore. I just want to protect my sister. I can't let a psycho like you get in her way.
Arts. It's... A ray of light shines off the blood on Maria's face. Fragile and insignificant, it's true. If he gave it his all, the Knight Mora could easily have strangled the Pegasus to death. He is confident of that. Yet, why does the blood on her face have this radiant, golden shine? Is it the light of her arts turning it gold? A Pegasus whose name is bound to go down in history, yet so frail. Is it a mere coincidence?
Master Vogelweide, go back without me. I'll hold him here.
Drop the act, kid. He'll kill you.
Don't worry. I'll stop him. Huh? Why are you turning around?
Pegasus. You cannot grow stronger on the conviction of others, not unless you truly believe in it. And you do not. Dedication and sacrifice. These virtues border on self-destruction, and you possess them at birth. You taught me a lesson, Pegasus, descendant. Perhaps. No, never mind. Tell the Radiant Knight that my bout with her has not yet ended. I am merely putting it on hold. Perhaps. Perhaps what? Perhaps I would have made the same decision if I had been raised in the same environment as you. Never allow yourself to be so weak, Tola. Never.
The Radiant Knight, the Blood Knight. The Major has really heated up in the blink of an eye. If we go by points and nothing else, the finals should long have been in reach of the Radiant Knight. Doesn't that make you happy?
After the infected incident, we'll Will the people accept that?
Many will voice their gripes. But that also happened when the Blood Knight first came along. But who still remembers any of that after the Blood Knight took his trophy and the money came raining down? They have short memories, Doctor. No matter who ends up winning, as long as they speak on the infected's behalf, it'll all work out fine. Casimir loves its champions. Whatever's the case, I believe you and Nearl will overcome.
How are Amia and the medic operators doing?
They're giving the infected knights checkups and treatments, just as always. Rhode Island is plenty efficient. I can see why the Grand Knight trusts you so much. That said, I'm right here with you, and you haven't shown even a little bit of care for me. That makes me kind of sad.
You're right. I should thank you for all your help.
What are you thanking me for, specifically?
Now, all of these are good ones, but I do have to go with the first one. For chatting with me and helping me kill time.
Oh, so our conversations are just a way to pass the time to you? But in that case, I'll keep talking to you all you want. So, how will you thank me, Doctor?
Pretend to take a walk outside so you can take a break and go shopping.
That sounds wonderful. I've always wanted to be a model, just once.
I do love that sentence because of that one outfit that you can have for her, which basically makes it look like she's a model.
I may wear all this armor all the time, but I'm still a girl. I got tired of this outfit a long time ago. That said, I didn't really have the right to think about something like this in the past. Well then, Doctor, would you lean back, please?
Sure.
Close your eyes, okay? I wouldn't want anything to happen to them. And then... Doctor, don't open your eyes. If you see an armorless assassin's face, I'm afraid you won't be leaving Casimir's alive.
I've got to at least know what's going on, no?
You're not just a regular campaign knight, are you? The Armless Union doesn't hold the patent on assassination, you know? Don't move, or I'll cut your throat open. No, that won't do. I can't let you put the doctor's life in danger, even if it costs me my own. It's just some foreign company. Is this one really worth giving your life for? Knight, The barcode on your arm. You're a purchased slave. Why so loyal to an outsider? Unfortunately, my desire to protect the doctor comes from the bottom of my heart. I see. The Adeptus probably arranged for a lackey like you to follow Rhode Island around. They plan to use Rhode Island to investigate Area Zero right from the start. Don't make our relationship sound so exploitative.
As long as we get along, am I right?
So you are Rhode Island's doctor. There's supposed to be a Cautus girl around you. I'm not into hurting kids. Bumping you off should do the trick, right?
Too bad Amia's Rhode Island's true leader. You really shouldn't underestimate Amia, though.
Doctor, go on without me. I'll hold her here. Take Miss Amia and leave this place. Look for someone from the Adeptus. I'm not here alone. The Armless Union already has you surrounded. You're not walking out of here. It's okay, Doctor. As long as I'm here, The doctor? Shielding your own bodyguard? What's the idea? You will give your life for someone else? Aw, how cute. I've got a job to do though.
A mission from the board of directors?
What?
If my guess is correct, the board didn't give you these orders.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Is it Misco Industries? Of course, Rhode Island is a threat to them. But does it matter if some foreign company knows the truth? What they're really afraid of are the beasts sitting at the same table.
So?
I'm guessing it won't be hard for you to kill me, huh? Why don't you take a seat and catch a breath?
Do you really understand what you're doing? Even with this campaign night in the way, I can...
No, you can't. The spokesman personally oversaw our contract signing with our partners. Right now, we are temporarily affiliated with the General Chamber of Commerce. Of course, you people have a way to get around the law.
Call?
It's for you. Centauria. No need to be so shocked, Platinum. I'm very glad you haven't killed Rhode Island's leader yet. Call it off. Your orders were mistaken. Those morons jumping the gun. It is not up to them to give the Union orders without consulting the board. And stop the madness that Area Zero is pulling on its so-called useless infected. Rhode Island has opened our eyes. Their lives still have meaning. They can yet create value. That's all.
You planned this? How did you do it?
Good lord. No one knows. Don't worry about it. Anyway. You cozy up to some people and you square up to others. Most people think it's difficult to even bring ideas to their bosses. What's actually difficult is figuring out how to cozy up and who to square up to. Thankfully, I got a friend who's a good listener. So, what will we do with Area Zero? We'll be working with too many uncertain factors if we let the two infected knights make a big splash. After all, the uprising the infected have instigated. And if the public catches wind of the way Area Zero takes care of its infected right now, I suppose there are both upsides and downsides. We don't permit upsides and downsides. Whether it's good or bad, what we want is control over the matter.
I have other ways to handle this. Just to be safe, I've already instructed the Armorless Union to take care of it. Should I let you go, just like that? You're an outsider who knows about the Armorless Union. Don't be such a sore loser, Platinum. You're embarrassing yourself, you know. Doctor, I've got something to ask you about transporting today's supplies. Do you have a guest? I'm sorry. It's okay. Come in. An Armorless and a campaign knight are having tea together because of you, Doctor. You're really full of surprises. Doctor, may I have a second? I need you to sign this.
Platinum just to herself.
So, that's Rhode Island's leader. If I take her down now...
Naturally, she's just entertaining the thought. Even Gravel, who sits mere meters away from her, can feel not an ounce of hostility. After all, she is merely entertaining the thought. But be that as it may, Platinum suddenly hesitates before feeling relieved for her decision. She's relieved that she did not carry out her mission. In the blink of an eye, she senses a possibility in the petite goddess. If things escalate, will she actually be able to draw her arrow unscathed? Or perhaps before that...
Miss, is something the matter? Never mind. Please excuse me.
I'll send someone to fix the glass I broke. Time to go. Doctor. The doctor of Rhode Island. I'll be back.
Oh, you sure as hell will.
Doctor? Gravel? Did something happen? No. We had a cup of tea together. That's all.
Let's call it that. Platinum, ma'am, here's what you wanted.
I'm surprised you found it.
Right, we searched through the communications between Rhode Island and the Adeptus, and we narrowed it down to this message with the clues we had. These are the true medic examination records of Operator Nearl, the Radiant Knight.
What? The Radiant Knight isn't infected?
And now they know. Welcome to the Casimir's Major. It's your old buddy, Great Mouth Mob. Thanks to Nightmare Knight's mistake, we're treated to today's matchup. The Blood Knight versus the Nightmare Knight. With their terrifying auras and might unmatched by any other, imagine the fight our mighty Blood Knight and the legendary Knight's Mora have in store for us today. The Blood Knight and Nightmare had a fiery first encounter the other day, and now they face each other in a formal match. There will be blood, there will be slaughter. Only the victor will get to bask in fame and glory. Let us welcome our knights for today's match. No nightclub, no sponsors. Good lord, why are you people leaving that huge pie on the table? Somebody, make him a nightclub. You'll be rolling in all that dough. On the other side, we have the King of Blood, Casimir's Blood Red Chalice, the Heartless Victory Machine, and deservedly the very pinnacle, the Blood Knight, the Caiopolis! We meet again, Knights Mora. Are you still searching for the shadows of the past? Alright, and we move on to stage number 9, titled A Sigh. Fear derived from imagination is nothing for those who have long realized the truth of life. Good news, everybody. Sorry. That always triggers me.
Good news, Doctor. The Adeptus Prohibitively has approved Rhode Island's applications. It's necessary for our valued partners to visit the city. If none of these things happened in the first place, you would have been able to enjoy the Grand Knight territory more freely.
City outing.
Doctor, were you looking for me? Oh, Gravel, I still have some healthy food leftovers. Want to take them with you?
No, run, run, this instant, everybody. Just run, turn around, go the other way, do not eat it. If she throws it at you, I am shielding you, I am eating it. I will sacrifice my stomach and my intestines. Pardon. But I have to say, that one part in the Lingering Echoes story with her food, mwah, chef's kiss, beautiful scene. Anyway, I do love that she is hesitant on hearing that, as if, does she know already that she actually had the opportunity to taste the food? Oh no, poor Gravel had to experience Hibiscus's healthy food. Oh god.
Good day, Gravel, Doctor.
We rarely get a chance to visit the other parts of Casimir's. What a battle! I can hardly believe my eyes. Actually, I should be talking or
Oh yeah, there's a word missing there. Actually, I should be talking about our unknown Knights Mora. Can you believe this is his first major appearance, and he's holding his own against a champion? The clash of blood-red armor on the field tonight will eclipse the moon! The audience is definitely feeling it too. Tola, Scourge of the Prairie, Nightmare Knight. His crazed determination is addictive and intoxicating. Nightmare Knight's been surging in the polls since his duel with the Radiant Knight. Will he add another page to this story? Arise to grand knighthood? By the way, Ancients Entertainment is holding a nightly title trivia game. Guess the nightly titles and win fabulous prizes.
Where'd your bravado go, Knights Mora? Minoan, in the times when my ancestors flayed the land, your heroes had all become naught but words on the lips of poets. You waste your breath. Where's your Kagan now? What happened to those proud kinsmen of yours? One who lives in a bygone nightmare is a pitiful man indeed. Minoan, infected, what are you fighting for? Survival. They made me the hero of the infected. They enshrined me in the annals of history. But I just wanted to survive. The hero of the infected? I see. Do you not also fight for your people? My people? No. We don't share the same bloodline. Nor were we born in the same place. We are just unfortunate enough to suffer the same disease. How did I? I pitied their plight, so I went to deliver them, to find a way out for them. You say they're not your people, but you still want to save them. Laughable. You are mighty, without a doubt, but have the prairies of Casimir's been carved up by the infected and foreigners? The Casimirsians, the Kuranta, where are they? Did I cross thousands of miles to the country of knights, only to fight against the infected Minoans and my own kinsmen? A sick joke.
Meanwhile, in the city.
Wow, so this is Casimir's commercial hub. Strictly speaking, this is just one of hundreds of commercial centers across the Grand Knight territory. I recommend this particular one because it's close. But there's way too much junk food everywhere. Just one look around and I count 3 popcorn stands, 2 pizzerias, and 4 burger shops.
You are describing heaven. But, I would like to say, please don't overdo junk food.
This is unacceptable.
No, it's heaven. Shut up.
Is this because there's a competition venue nearby? Of course, the area lies at the heart of every center of commerce. All businesses revolve around the knight's glorious blood sport. It's the way things are done here. Is this a Nearl doll? Oh, it's so cute! Wait a minute, this shop, is it all dedicated to?
Yo, are you folks fans of the Radiant Knight too? Then you've come to the right place. This is a specialty store for everything Radiant Knight. Clay figurines, plush dolls, Nearl family crests, you name it, we've got it. By the way, if the Radiant Knight manages to defeat the Wind Knight and advances to the finals, our supplier is considering making exclusive commemorative medals from refined Originium. Want to put in a pre-order? I mean, the Radiant Knight's pretty much sure to win. So, all of these are kind of, well, the second and the third are kind of okay options to choose, I would say. Pre-order the medal? Nah. Rhetorically ask if the store would consider a shield used by the Radiant Knight as Knight its greatest treasure. Why would I give them? If that is implying giving an old shield of Nearls to them, why would I do that? Are you nuts? No. But the first one is, in my opinion, the best one here. Buy the little doll for Nightingale. I mean, Nightingale and Shining, if it wasn't portrayed already enough for the story, are super attached to Nearl and vice versa. And they're gonna be separate for a while now. So having a little memento, which pretty much just serves to remind Nightingale or keep Nightingale company when Nearl is not around, is pretty much the best choice here. So buy the doll for Nightingale. Thanks for your patronage! I just wish there was a scene right there showing her reaction to it. Anyway, it's hard to tell what's going on. Nightmare Knight's ferocious attack was again repelled by the Blood Knight, and the former champion is slicing through the artificial turf as it was tofu. It's already been 10 minutes, but the temptatious exchange of blows continues. Who will be the first to show signs of fatigue in this seemingly endless battle? As I speak, the champion is readying his arts again. He awaits a sweeping strike from his opponent. After all that, are the two sides only feeling each other out? Neither the champion nor the Knights Mora seems to want to take the initiative and cast the first arts.
Minuan, how did you learn to fight like this? Unfortunately, I had very little combat training before becoming a knight. It was only after that I learned as I thought. A born warrior. Young man, I am not your mentor, but if it is an opponent you seek, there is one thing I can teach you. The fear you seek to instill through bluffing means nothing to someone who lives only in the present. The Blood Knight takes a half step back. Fresh blood oozes from his armor, condensing into a stream around him. A crimson light wraps around his weapon, forging it into a lethal edge of judgment. Answer me, Knights Mora. In the history you dreamt, in the thousands of years between then and now, were the infected ever given a new lease on life? Why you? You call yourself a Kashyyyk? Then don't back down now, Knights Mora. Where is Yukaga now? Bring him to me.
Where is your Kagan?
Where is your Kagan? Thousands of years have passed since the Kagan stepped into history. You'll only find him in history books, boy. Kashyyks? They were the Kagan's attendants, the greatest warriors known to this world. The Kagan conquered many places, but in doing so, did a lot of things that hurt people. It is in the nature of the Knights Mora to spread fear, and the desire to conquer was practically sustenance for the Kagan. But, Tola, you were born into this world, and you will surely find your own. Father, rival, master, ideals. Was I actually looking for these things in this city? No, it is time to wake up from my dream. This will just be a lingering memory. The path I drew for my Kagan quest was set in stone long time ago. The young hunter sets out on his Kagan quest. From dreams he goes towards the shores of gold. Knights Mora. A Knights Mora stands in the arena. His limbs are at ease, his flaws are exposed. He knows not where to cast his gaze from beneath that helmet. He hums an ancient ballad. Until the Black Knight pains over his vision, until a tower of bone stands erect in his heart, until hemlock chokes his hazy home. Done saying your prayers? My family is dead. My people are lost. The Kagan is wherever the tip of my blade points. I am my own Kagan. Come!
Meanwhile,
Clear weather, no wind. A fine day for shooting. Targets: the 2 leaders of Rhode Island, one hooded person of unknown race, and a Cautus. Mood: very bad, because every time I try to do my work, someone gets in my way. Addendum: extremely bad mood. Do you have a habit of keeping a diary? Who would deliberately write these things down? Might as well send it to the Adeptus Pravilivli Casimirs and ask for a speedier sentence. By the looks of things, you're the type of person who brings her baggage with her to work. Confessarius, the Radiant Knight, and the Cautus who gives off a strange vibe. What the hell is Rhode Island supposed to be anyway?
that is a question that even I cannot answer you.
I never had a chance to ask you before, but you people, where did you hear the name Confessarius?
Monique has seen the skills of the Sarkas before her. Excellent swordsmanship, complex, seemingly incomprehensible Originium arts, perhaps witchcraft. Along with the Radiant Knight, she was able to block a Darksteel arrow. And I would like to add here, for maybe anyone who is new to Arknights and is listening to this and hasn't had the experience, or rather the moment yet to see the E2 art of Shining, or knows much about Shining, like she says, she is, like Monique is saying, she is a Confessarius. More on the Confessarius you can actually hear about in the main story of Arknights. In the meantime, I would also like to say, while yes, Shining is classified as a healer, and she's a very good healer, that staff is a sword. Continuing, she had a suspicion at the time that perhaps blocking arrows was not the full extent of the Sarkas' abilities. But now she's convinced of one thing.
I can't tell you that. I'm also not so kind-hearted that I can just watch an assassin take aim at the Doctor and Amia, and then let her walk free. Besides, the last time we met, we didn't get a chance to introduce ourselves properly. A bit rude on both of our parts. And Aura? Why are all of Rhode Island's bodies so shiny and sparkly? I'm getting tired of that aesthetic.
Look, there are dank people in the roster as well. You just had the opportunity to meet the sparkly ones.
It's a comforting glow. Almost no hints of aggression. Is this Sarkas witchcraft? No. Her expression... Does she lament drawing her sword? Not in the mood to chat. Very well then. Let's find out just what you're worth.
Back to the arena. What just happened? Are my eyes playing tricks on me? Black mist is rising from the arena. While that isn't too unusual, do you see something rising from the mist? Is that a banner? Wait, there's an entire army?
Is that the product of your obsession?
A shame. A shame that those knights watching from the stands cannot fathom how I feel right now. The flag flutters, the horn sounds, an army marches, an entire people, an entire history. But is this the reason you've given up the present to seek out death like a madman?
The Knights Mora Knight launched an attack, but with the thick black mist enveloping the arena, I can't see what's going on. Is that something charging forward inside the mist? Is this Nightmare Knight's true, is this Nightmare Knight's true arts? The ability to summon his ancestors?
Ridiculous. You lack the courage to face your fate. The Blood Knight brings down his axe. He knows he's not facing an ancient Keshik's army. A young man who seeks his own annihilation. A young man who tries to bring back a bygone era. The jet black mist drowns the sanguine armor of the Blood Knight. From the impact, from the pain, it is clear that these summoned entities are not illusions or holograms. The Blood Knight continues to stand motionless. He's waiting for the moment when the real Knight's Mora will strike. In an ancient language, sleep now, hero! The Blood Knight lets out a grunt. Even Casimir's strongest armor wails in this moment. Blade cleaved through armor, and even the sturdy Blood Knight is almost forced to take a knee. Damn, only a flesh wound. You were able to cut me, but my blood is now on your weapon. Trap? Don't feel bad. Your lack of combat experience has always been your weakness. You are still a far cry from the so-called Keshik.
Meanwhile,
The sight of you and the Radiant Knight blocking Darksteel's arrow made a deep impression. Even a Silverlance Pegasus would have trouble withstanding Darksteel's punishment. My sources tell me you and the Radiant Knight call yourself the Followers, an organization that treats the infected. A physician, huh? Looks like I need to toss that information of mine into the Gloompincer cage. Unfortunately, I'm not fond of fighting. Is that so? I used to be in the Victorian army. Because I was just a commoner without noble blood, I couldn't become an officer. The KGCC ended up poaching me during a joint military exercise. At that time, my old bosses were still rejoicing over one fewer thorn in their sides. So, I'm quite confident in my aim. From this distance, take 3 of my arrows head-on, and I'll drop the plans for Rhode Island. Deal? Why should I trust you? Whether or not you do is up to you. The Armless Union has no shortage of ways to deal with Rhode Island. For example, we could have applied some volatile chemicals to those dolls that they are clutching so unsuspectingly right now. Don't give me that look. Anyone could arrange something like that. 3 shots. 3 shots. Number 1.
Monique draws her bowstring, a picture-perfect Victorian form. Back in her military days, the young Monique could pierce a willow branch at 100 paces. She was famous for it.
Didn't draw enough for that one.
The Sarkis before her didn't even draw her sword. The unexpected result sends a stifling heat through Monique's chest. The unwanted sensation rushes toward her heart.
Number 2.
She draws her bow taunt a second time. On a rainy night, Monique once attacked a First Order campaign knight. The opponent was not some famous hero, but a true veteran of the Ursus Casimir's war. His quick reflexes spared him the arrow from the darkness, and the two ended up locked in combat until they plunged off a cliff. The forests of Casimir's were cold and steep in the early spring, and the chase through the dense woods lasted 7 days and nights. At the moment when the pain in her limbs and the ringing in her ears were almost intolerable, she drew her bowstring back and knocked her arrow once more, finding her target as he stopped for water.
Her stance changed as has the look in her eyes. Like a hunter waiting for an opening.
The arrow split in two in midair. One segment embedded itself into the ground, the other disappeared into a grassy clearing, where it startled a few chattering foul beasts.
But I have no intention of becoming your prey. Are all confessari as skilled with their sword as you? Or rather, are there a lot of other people at Rhode Island like you? Should we redo Rhode Island's risk assessment? To be honest, getting rid of Rhode Island should be the responsibility of the board. But soon enough, I won't be acting on their orders. You don't believe me? No, actually, that doesn't come as a surprise. Our leader has also foreseen this possibility. So what's the point of you saying this? That this duel is solely a matter of your pride? The point is, you should give this everything you've got, Sarkas. Last one.
It's over.
A stunning reversal! In a single heavy blow, the Blood Knight has dissipated the heavy mist lingering in the arena. His momentum sweeps right through Nightmare Knight's illusions. Too bad for you, Knights Mora. You made one miscalculation. In the face of the Blood Knight and his mastery of blood arts, you underestimated his skill in a melee.
Was that really an illusion? It seemed like an entire war.
What? Even after taking that tremendous blow at point-blank range, Nightmare Knight is still standing? Unbelievable! Could he be mustering a counterattack?
As the Blood Knight, I would like to put in a request to speak with the judges. Yes, he has lost his senses. Should we continue this, his life will be in danger. Let's call this match.
The judges have reached a verdict. Without a doubt, the first knight to advance to the finals of the major has been decided. The clash between the Knights Mora and the champion has ended. A battle between fear and terror incarnate. I have the results right here. It is my great honor to announce the winner of tonight's round.
Before Mob can finish announcing the winner's name, from behind a conspicuous barrier in the corner of the arena, a certain infected knight stands up.
The Blood Knight!
And another joins him, and they begin all chanting, "The Blood Knight, the Blood Knight, the Blood Knight."
They're all infected.
And this continues throughout the city. All the infected keep on chanting, "Long live the Blood Knight," or just Blood Knight. And it keeps going. And going. And going. Blood Knight, Blood Knight, Blood Knight. And in the arena, of course, it continues. And continues. The Blood Knight slowly lifts his hand and gestures to the audience. He then turns his head to look at the Knights Mora, who has still not fallen. As the Blood Knight lifts his eyes above the Knights Mora, his gaze meets that of another knight in the distance. And the chanting continues.
The professional thing would be not to interrupt the audience when they're in an uproar, but most of them seem like they're infected, so maybe it's fine.
The chanting continues on the television.
This is the hero of Casimir's infected, Margaret. You strive to fulfill a similar role. How will you deal with this overlap?
And in another place, television continues the chanting.
This is the infected, Diciopolis.
And yet in another place, the chanting continues. So that's the hero, the Blood Knight. So much fanfare for that name. Though the Radiant is a paragon of defiance, the one who truly managed to carve out a space for the infected is the Blood Knight, Diciopolis. But it has been a long time since he bowed his head to us. In my capacity as a media man, I deeply appreciate your proposal, Mr. Malkiewicz. But as you know, this public opinion is just a thin layer of assurance. To make sure that things go smoothly, we'll have to prepare to play hardball. Of course. I just don't want everyone to end up with no way back. And on the streets, the chanting yet continues.
I knew the Blood Knight was invincible. Nobody can take him down. Oh, what's going on over there? The roof over there. Is it sunrise?
You. The Sarka slowly closes her eyes, as if refusing to view her arts. A brief brilliance lingers on the tip of her sword, like the setting sun. As if she suddenly remembered something, the Sarkis quickly changes her pose, bringing the sword into her embrace. As if this sword never should be unsheathed.
What did you do just now? Was that Sarka's witchcraft? No. What I felt just now was...
The breath of life? No. A soul's life force? No. It was more like a formless illusion, something that could only be touched while in a trance or a drunken stupor. But there is no doubt that just now, the Sarkas was wielding the Twilight.
That technique, you could have killed me. I was just taking your 3 shots, Armless. Of course, if you go back on your word, I will.
The feeling of being caught. She can't run. She would be chased down, but by what? By the Sarkas or her sword? Or by the thing she controls, the essence of life?
Do you want to continue? No. Even on the job, we still fulfill our obligations. Pull out. Stop telling Rhode Island. Thank you. I have one more kind of trivial question for you. I'll consider it out of respect for you keeping your word. For you, Sarkas, is there some kind of significance to cutting off your horns? It differs from person to person. Some may see their Sarkas heritage as a curse, and may do that as a way of trying to hide their identity. It might also be a way to channel a certain form of witchcraft, to facilitate a certain arts. Or perhaps it might even be a tradition of some unconventional tribes. The possibilities are many, and there is no way to say for sure.
If I need to point it out, she's asking because of Toland.
Why, do you ask? No, no reason.
But yeah, quickly before we continue with the final part for today, I just want to add, again, for people who are not aware of Shining, I've said this, I think, during something else already, but considering her sword, I already speculated, and I'm sure other people have speculated this as well, but I have a feeling that there will come a time in the story where she will have to wield that power of hers. But the thing is also very interesting now that I think about it, as well as an addendum to what I probably said already. I think there is a 50-50 chance for a altar here in this case. I have a dumb feeling that if she does actually draw her sword for combat prowesses, there is a 50-50 split. At least that's a feeling, a gut feeling I'm getting, that it might not be a case of we the players are gonna receive an alter version of Shining, where she is an actual offensive character, not a healer. But it's gonna be a thing of she pulls the sword and she cannot go back anymore and has to leave. Which would be sad, but at the same time, I would love to actually see some crazy ass splash art of her going actually full out force. It's just a thing of curiosity. I want to see it, even if there is a 50-50 split chance of her never being able to return back to Rhode Island afterwards. But anyway, let us finish off today's part with the after story. A voice on the news. The Blood Knight has successfully made his way to the finals, becoming only the second knight in the history of the Casimir's Major to have a chance of defending his title. However, the Blood Knight's status as an infected continues to draw criticism. A General Chamber of Commerce spokesman came out with this statement: the Blood Knight will not be treated differently on the basis of his status as an infected. Nevertheless, some knight families do not agree with this statement, and in light of the recent power outage and recurrence of the Great Separation, an incredible amount of public pressure has been mounting. Next, we invite a representative of the Knight Association to speak on the matter.
Dikaiopolis, the Blood Knight! Now that's what I'm talking about. That's how an infected knight should be. If the Radiant Knight defeats the Wind Knight, then it'll be infected against infected. The champion of the Major will be decided between the infected. Isn't that a good thing? We'll show those bigwigs that their Shining City isn't so invincible after all. Then, the Blood Knight and the Radiant Knight will tear off their veil of secrecy and reveal their crimes. The infected will finally taste victory.
If only things could be so simple. As for us, what do we do next?
Well, it's not like we have any future in the Grand Knight territory anyway. But we can get our hands on some legal papers and find some place, maybe a nice village, to quietly live our lives.
That's not what we set out to do.
We are not ready to stash away our armor and pick up the plow just yet, Sona. Are we not fighting to make sure those suffering from neuropathy can be treated fairly? The purpose of us informing the Adeptus preventively about the KGCC has been doing... what the KGCC has been doing in Area Zero, was it not to save more infected? Our job here isn't done yet.
I can't really argue with that, Sona. If we leave now, it'd be like giving up halfway.
Sona, why will most of the infected be left behind? No, that isn't the right question. Let me think. Why do the infected never seem to matter?
Workers exposed to high-risk environments, farmers with no way to avoid catastrophes, the homeless who wander between cities with nowhere to go. These are the people most afflicted by neuropathy.
A refined gemstone. That might be the first originium the Knight Nobles ever saw. Of course neuropathy doesn't concern them.
Why do you pose that question?
No reason in particular. Will Shevchik go with us?
What nonsense are you going on about now?
Oh, you were here all along?
How's the wife and kid?
Well, that's why I came by to give my regards. As long as they're safe, anything else goes. However, I'm no infected. On the face of it, I can even retain my legal status as a knight. I don't plan to stay in the Grand Knight territory. I'll use my prize money I earned over the years to buy some property and start a new life in a different city. Again, I would like to just point out here, we do see how that goes in the story after this, which is the Obscure Wanderer story.
Have you considered living somewhere other than a nomadic city? It'll probably be better for avoiding unwanted eyes and ears.
That isn't living, that's called surviving. Anyway, I'm here to say goodbye. The Major isn't over yet, and there are many people moving in and out. It's a good opportunity to quietly slip out of the Grand Knight territory.
A new city, huh?
Pinus Sylvestries nightclub. There's something I have to tell you all. The fact that the Adeptus Provilively has been informed of the Armless Union and of the infected containment and treatment facility does not necessarily mean that they'll immediately move to depose the KGCC. No, I'd go far as to say that right now they don't even have the ability to threaten the General Chamber of Commerce. You likely picked up on this as well, right? Call me cold if you want, but this has nothing to do with me anymore. For the sake of the short time we fought side by side, take care of yourselves. Don't challenge the city, Flametail.
What did you just show up to rain on our parade?
This is why I can't stand Knight Nobles.
Challenge the city. Huh. It sounds just like one of those silly Knight Nobles. Doctor, I've been your bodyguard for a while, so what do you think of me?
Cute.
I'll be honest, just being in the same room as you makes my heart beat a little faster, you know?
Terrified. Okay, I do need to I do need to select that one, right? Do you need a medic?
Aw, that's too bad. But I think you're acting dense on purpose.
No.
Doctor, Nearl reached the grand finals. The Wind Knight forfeits. The Rainian Knight advances by a bye. It was a headline in today's paper. The Wind Knight is only one step away from retirement, and most likely doesn't want to go out with a loss to the Radiant Knight. Really makes me jealous of that Radiant Knight, seeing how much you care about her. Gravel? Oh, I didn't mean anything by that. At least for now.
Just love the playfulness of Gravel and how the people who do not know how to deal with that react to it, and obviously Amiya is one of them. Just always taken aback, like, how do I react to this? What is going on? Love it.
Doctor, do you think Gravel has been in a bad mood recently? She seems to be getting more and more... Huh? You think it's her personality? Alright, if that's what you believe.
Just her personality.
Wait, hold on. How many men do I have?
3 squads.
What about you and Monique?
We have other work to do.
Then...
Don't even think about Darksteel. They also have their jobs to do.
Is the Union...
If you figured it out, you'd best to behave yourself and act like you don't know anything. You do want to live, don't you?
Yes. So with these 3 squads, I'm responsible for guarding the major arena and serving as the early warning, right?
Correct.
For the battle of the Blood Knight and the Radiant Knight?
Correct.
And with the possibility of coming face to face with a Silverlance Pegasus?
Correct.
Alright. Are you asking me to commit suicide?
I wouldn't put it that way. Just don't do anything, and you'll be fine.
How much longer are you going to use me?
I'm glad you're self-aware. Casimir's is like a tower.
what's going to happen to me after the major is over?
Depends on your performance. If you're just asking me, though, at least I'd prefer to let you live. A tower with no survivors.
Uncle.
You've already brought things to this step, doing whatever you feel like, with no concern for others' opinions. Have you ever thought of all the people you're harming through your juvenile actions? Have you ever considered that Marcin and the others will now be at the mercy of the Armorless Union? Have you ever considered that Maria and Zofia may no longer be able to live safely in the Grand Knight territory? You may hold your own ideals in a vacuum, Margaret, but remember this. Your greatest mistake is trying to determine the trajectories of other people's lives. There is not a soul who has that right. I am extremely disappointed in you.
Margaret. Maria, tell me the truth. Did I rob you of your dreams? You handed both the family name and the right to enter the tournament to me. Margaret, that never crossed my mind. I just don't think I'm cut out to be a knight. I'm listening, Maria. It's been a long time since I've heard you confide in someone else. I don't understand what you're doing. I've been doubting what the point of a knight even is anymore. When we stand victorious in the arena, what is it the audience cheers for? What have we won? Even if you wanted to beat them at their own game to defeat those rogues who want to keep you from winning, what if they let you win because they get something out of it? Or what if they were never beholden to the rules of the game in the first place? You're right. From the beginning, they never had an ounce of concern about the knights. This I already knew. What? There is no meaning to becoming the champion, but to those watching us, it means the world. Maria, if you think the city, this country is sick, what do you think is the root cause of the illness? The corruption of the Adeptus Pravildivi, the General Chamber of Commerce's endless expansion and exploitation? It might be either or even both. We often say that Casimir needs to regain its former glory, and even so often, someone needs to remind it what glory and justice are. But it is not just the knights who need to recover that glory. Victory is not about defeating someone. To be a knight is to be the noble light that illuminates the land. But after illuminating the path forward, clearing the thorns, and filling up the pitfalls, a knight should have thought all those... A knight should have taught all those who seek freedom to overcome hardship.
Finally awake, huh? Took you long enough. Thought you were dead. You're a Sarkaz. And you can talk. Looks like you're doing better than your brother. Don't worry, he's not dead either. This special salve is usually used for armor repair, so this is what happens when you apply it directly to humans. The principle behind it is activation. What exactly do Casimir's suits of armor have in common with humans? Both humans and armor can be activated. Then what about Originium slugs? You're a Dehord, Sarkaz. Are you with the Armorless Union? Huh.
I'll take that as a compliment. Those guys make 3,000 times more than I do. I'm a bounty hunter. I'm here in the Grand Knight territory on a bit of business, as well as a little investigation related to the Sarkas. Of course, it's nothing official, just a personal curiosity of mine. Have you seen any other Sarkas with trimmed horns? Who cut off yours? Who would use the Sarkas as slaves and test subjects? Alright, I suppose you've been whipped pretty thoroughly. Want to come with me? What? Big guys like you should be able to help out with some handiwork, right? We're camped in the wasteland and we're lacking hands more than anything else. You? Come with me, Sarkas. Come with me and you just might survive. But, buyer? You poor lad, your folks won't even pay the bills for you when you're in the hospital. But your body is undoubtedly sturdy. Anyone else in your position wouldn't have much life left in them after a bout with the Blood Knight. Even if you're an independent knight, you should have at least had some money saved up from making it to the semifinals. Where did it all go? Stop moving around, your wounds are deep. Where are you going? Hey, hold on, where are you going? I'm leaving. A golden Pegasus, a crimson Minuan. I've gained much. You're unhappy? No, I failed. I won't fear failure anymore. I won't be afraid to retreat anymore. I won't fear the beauty of weakness. But I am still lacking. I have yet to finish my Kagan quest. Kagan quest this, Kagan quest that. Do you even know where you're going? Even in ancient times, it's not like there was a path you were supposed to follow for years, right? North. In the distant north, the echoing north, where my ancestors disappeared. And after you make your way there, then what? Are you going to come back? I assumed you were searching for something you were missing. But it turns out you are searching for a place to die. Also, interesting place he set his sights on. Two quick things before we end stuff off here, just in case I forget it in the final part where I usually ramble about certain things. First off, we've already been privy through the story so far that the knight's armor, doesn't even matter if it's Silver Pegasus or just knights in general, they all use a certain like lubricant, Jesus words, to pretty much power, activate, and maintain their armor, right? So here we have a very interesting idea, and Tolan brings it up very well there, that it's very interesting that once you... and this is... I don't know if this is specifically just meant for, or interacts that way with Sarkas particularly, but very interesting thing there to think about, that when you inject that stuff into a person, it pretty much acts as a... how would you put it? Like a very potent... very potent drug, or... what's the word I'm missing? I'm missing a word here, and it's escaping me, and my brain just died, apparently. Whatever. Anyway, you get the drift. It is very interesting that it's interacting in that sort of way, and just pumping them up, essentially, and making them, and slowly killing them on this side. Steroids, that's the word I'm looking for, steroids.
But yeah, it pretty much works like a steroid on drugs. They're bigger, buffer, tougher, but they're also just mindless. And slowly dying. And looks like they're gonna be with Toland for a while, which is interesting. I wonder if they're gonna snap back to their old selves if they are off the stuff for a while. But yeah, very interesting thing to point out that that stuff interacts in that specific way with humans. So what are the parts of knight armor made of? Or rather the better question is not what the armor is made of, but what is the liquid made of? What the hell is in that thing? And another thing, Tola here says that he's gonna go north. As a quick refresher, to the north, above the lands of Ursus and Sami, we pretty much have another big tundra and ice fields, and we have what we know from pretty much lore so far. We have the demons that the Ursus are keeping at bay, right? So, are we gonna have a story taking place up there, and are we gonna see our dearly beloved, what's his face, Tola up there at some point? Because I'm speculating. I'm not thinking he's gonna become a playable character, by the way, but I am speculating on the fact that we might see him again because of how much he was boosted up through this story so far. Plus the fact that these more prominent characters, when they decide to not show their faces for whatever reason, here in this story, for example, we had Plastic in the first story where we don't see his face, but he becomes a more prominent character here and cooperates with certain parties, and we get to see his face finally. While we have here Tola again, who is pretty much an antagonist of sorts, but maybe he will return at one point in the future. Will we see his finally see his face? I would love to see what the designers go about as for the design, because he's supposed to be a Koranta, so he's gonna be a normal horseman. But still, I would love to see how he looks, considering everybody keeps calling him still a child or a boy or whatever, so I'm kind of wondering how fucking old he actually is. But yeah, I really hope there's gonna be a story somewhere up north at some point. Still waiting on a Sami story. It would be nice to see him again. I wonder if he's gonna change at all, if he achieves something. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to voice here very quickly. But anyway, as always, thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed this and like this, please consider leaving a like on the video. It helps the videos in the algorithm immensely. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Would be nice to get the channel up to certain numbers eventually. We are very close to 500 soon. And I'm slowly working on coupling together a Discord server for the community. Even though I still have no idea what to call the community, as that is a popular thing to do, right? But anyway, thanks for listening. I hope you have a fantastic day, and next time we are gonna be finishing off the story when it comes to the stages. But like I said, this is not gonna be the finish for the story. After the next episode, where we round up the story for the stages, we are gonna be going for one more extra bonus episode to add certain elements to the whole thing. You'll see what I mean by that. I already talked a bit about it, but I'm gonna talk more about it next time. But until then, I hope you have a fantastic day wherever you are, and I will see you in the next part. Until then, bye bye.